to Satan, pray to Satan, pray to Satan.
So we've all seen these crazy fitness transformations where people gain pounds and pounds of muscle in a very short amount of time. Usually it's weeks or months when we see these advertisements, and it's always to promote some sort of supplement, diet plan, or weight training protocol. And for those of us who are enlightened, we all know it's bullshit. And probably the most bullshit fitness transformation I've ever seen is Vince Delmonte's 41 pounds of muscle in 6 months that he claimed he got in his first 6 months of training.
Why do you think it's so hard for people to believe that you gain 41 pounds of muscle in 6 months? Going from skinny Vince to this transformation 6 months later.
I didn't know what was possible coming into the gym, and I think that was my biggest advantage. And just like a lot of big business icons, like a guy like Mark Zuckerberg, he had no idea how big Facebook could be. Sailing around the world, going to the moon, the 4-minute mile, those are all things that were once considered impossible.
Now, that is quite a claim. 41 pounds of muscle in 6 months. And that sounds absolutely ridiculous, especially considering Vince claims he did that all natural without the use of any drugs or steroids. But there happens to be a bodybuilder who made a similar transformation as Vince, so let's see if that adds any credibility to Vince's story.
In a year, I put on approximately 48 pounds of muscle. I was eating 12 solid meals a day. I was eating every hour and a half to 2 hours. I was training twice a day. And when I wasn't training or doing cardio, I was taking a nap. I was taking 2 IUs of growth every hour and a half to 2 hours. Approximately 20 IUs of growth a day, 2 grams of test, 600 to 800 milligrams of tren, 600 milligrams of equipoise, 300 milligrams of injectable anadrol.
Okay, so Vince Delmonte gained 41 pounds of muscle in 6 months, but it took Rich Piana a year to put on 48 pounds of muscle using massive amounts of steroids, including 20 IUs of growth hormone per fucking day, eating 12 meals per day, and doing nothing but eating, sleeping, and training. And Vince wants us to believe that he gained 41 pounds of muscle in 6 months without the use of any steroids. So there's only a few possibilities here, and they all end with Vince being full of shit, and looking at his before and after photos, it's very clear he did not gain 41 pounds of muscle. He may very well have gained 41 pounds, but not 41 pounds of muscle. He would have looked much larger, and I also don't see why I should believe that these photos are even 6 months apart. So did Vince willingly lie about his transformation to try and advertise himself and get more money, or is he really just that stupid to think he gained 41 pounds of muscle in 6 months? I'd really like Vince to answer that question, and maybe he could do a response in a video, or perhaps he'd rather just explain that to a judge in court. I don't know, but what I do know is Vince Delmonte has the Mark Zuckerberg of noses. When he first started growing his nose, he didn't know it was possible, just like how we didn't know the moon landing was possible, and Vince Delmonte was able to grow 41 pounds of nose in just 6 months. So all of these fitness transformations are absolute bullshit. If they really did gain that amount of muscle in that short amount of time, they are on massive amounts of steroids, just like Rich Piana was at that time, and as a natural lifter, you can only really expect to gain 5 to 10 pounds of muscle per year. And just a little tip, Vince, if you want people to not think you're taking steroids, maybe don't claim you gained 41 pounds of muscle in 6 months. Just a tip there. So hopefully all of you can start making some vegan gains. Don't forget to comment, rate, and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.
Beef. What a relief. When will this poisonous product cease? This is another public service announcement. You can believe it or you can doubt it. Let us begin now with the cow. The way it gets to your plate and how.